Hi guys, in today's video we're gonna take a look at this slideshow effect, which is some kind of fly-through slides effect. I'm gonna show you how to install ready-to-use version from my coffee page in case you don't want to learn Fusion and you just want to utilize this effect in your project. And of course, in the second part of this tutorial, I'm gonna show you step by step how you can recreate it on your own so that you learn some cool stuff in Fusion, hopefully. So yeah, without further ado, let's start. First, what you need to do is to open media. Somewhere in your media pool, create a new Fusion composition. So right click, new Fusion composition, and create, drag it to the timeline and make it a bit longer because the whole slideshow effect lasts, I think, 30 seconds or so. So it's better to have it longer, because if not, if you leave it like that and you open Fusion, you get only 400 frames available. So let's make it longer like that. You can always shorten it later on. Okay, once you get your Fusion composition in the timeline, open Fusion page, and in here you get only media out. Let me zoom in a bit. If you're totally new to Fusion page, don't worry. If you want to use my coffee page version that is ready to use, this is really very simple to implement. So all you need to do is to get this slideshow effect from my coffee page. Once you have it, you should have two files with comp extension, but don't double click it, don't import it through file import Fusion composition, because for some reason it won't be working properly. Depending on which version you want, 9x16 or 16x9, I will show you 16x9, but the procedure is the same for both of these Fusion compositions. So open it with a notepad or any other editor, text editor. So right click, open with notepad. Just copy everything to the clipboard, Ctrl+C. In the notes panel, delete the media out so that you don't have any notes in here, and paste it. It will open several windows like so, but just click cancel and you should have something like this. This is the ready to use Fusion composition. First, select the media out node and tap 2, for instance, so that the effect is previewed on the right screen. And as you see, you got nothing here because you need to load your pictures. Before you do it, it's better to uncheck high quality and motion blur. Click somewhere around here on this panel and uncheck both of this. And also in your playback, go to timeline playback resolution, and depending on your specs, depending on your computer, you can leave it as it is, full quality, but I always decrease it to half or quarter for smoother preview. Okay, so let me go back to the beginning of our slideshow. So place your playhead at frame 0, and in here, if you don't see this navigation panel, tap V on the keyboard. It's very useful to navigate through this notes panel. So if you want to zoom in and out, just hold Ctrl and scroll with your mouse. In here, what you should be interested in are those loader nodes where you will load your pictures. So let me go to the first one. And in the inspector, you're gonna have browse button, and you can browse the photos. You can upload 8 photos to this Fusion composition. You can combine these Fusion clips together so that if you have more pictures you want to include in the slideshow effect, that's also possible. You can also upload only 3 or 5, then the whole animation will be shorter, obviously. So let me upload the first one. And as you see, it's already previewed on the second screen because we got our media out previewed in this second viewer. Okay, let me fast forward and upload all other loaders node. Okay, all 8 pictures are loaded to our Fusion composition. This is basically it. If we go through the timeline, this is how the animation will go. will look like. And that's it, it ends somewhere here. So our fusion composition is too long, but we can adjust it in the edit page, that's not a problem. Okay, so what you can customize more, you can get rid of this flying particles by disabling this image plane node. So simply select this and in the inspector switch this control to off, and you don't have any flying particles if you don't like it. Of course, you can change, you can play farther with this particle, you can customize it to your need in this P emitter node. If you want to learn more about particles, I strongly recommend you to watch this tutorial. Another thing you can change right off the bat, if you wish, is depth blur, because right now you got this effect of the very high aperture. So if you again select the depth blur node and disable it, you won't have this depth blur, depth of field effect. But I think it's pretty cool, so I will leave it on. And this is basically how you can use right off the bat this effect. As you see, the background is transparent, so you can easily put anything you need, anything you want underneath. The animation ends somewhere around here, so you can simply drag and drop the length of your fusion composition to this. As I mentioned before, if you have more photos that you want to include in this slideshow effect, just copy this fusion again in here and you start over. Or even better, because we are zooming into the last photo, somewhere here. So what you can do is trim it and put underneath your second fusion composition with other photos, so it's nicely overlapping. Let me show you that frame by frame. We are approaching to the last photo and we will basically go through it, and underneath your second run of the fusion composition will start, of course with different photos. So this is how you can implement my ready-to-use fusion composition from my Ko-fi page. And right now let's take a look how you can actually create it on your own, how it works, so that you learn something out of it, and so that you can maybe invent something better or something that will suit better for you. Okay. So let me delete this fusion composition and let me open this fusion composition in Fusion page again. Let me delete all of it. So Ctrl A, delete. So we got empty nodes panel. So first what you need to do is to take your background node, set it to transparent by setting the alpha to 0. Then what we need is our media out. So from selection tool, search for media out. Yep, it's already connected. If not, just drag it and drop it over the yellow triangle. If I go too slow for someone of you, just play it with a higher speed on YouTube. But I want to make it really simple for everyone who see the Fusion for the first time and want to learn something new. Okay, so we got a background node, transparent background node connected to our media out that we will preview on our second screen. So I will tap 2. As you see, this white little dot is on, which means we are previewing it on this screen. What we need now is our first photo. I will drag it from the disk like so, simply as that. And I will preview it on the left this time. So I will tap 1 on my keyboard and I see my picture here. I need to take this photo to a 3D world. What you need to do is to select your media with the photo and click Image Plane 3D. That will automatically connect it to this plane image 3D, and right now if you preview it on the left, you see that we are in the 3D dimension. Okay, we need also a merge 3D, which is this node. So click it, and right now we can add another photo the same way as we did with this one. So let me drag maybe 2 more. We won't be doing 8 because that will last too long. I just want to give you the concept how you can proceed to create this effect. So let me grab this one and maybe this one. I repeat the steps, so I connect it with the plane image plane 3D. Same for this. And I will connect it to the merge 3D by dragging the output of the image plane 3D and dropping it somewhere over the merge 3D node. Same here. And right now, if I preview my merge 3D node, I see something like this. All the image planes are located at the same position, so we don't see them separately. Right now, what we need to do is to place them in the 3D scenario. To move around your view in the 3D, you can use your scroll bar. So if I scroll up and down, this is what happens. My view is going up and down. If I hold Control and I scroll, I zoom in and I zoom out. If I hold Shift, I pan like this. If I hold Shift and Alt and scroll, I rotate like this. You need to get used to it. Let me go to the first image plane 3D, and in the inspector, you got the tab Transform. And you can basically, using this 3x translation controls, you can set these images to your liking, maybe like this, and our third one maybe like so. Let me see how it looks from above. Okay, let's give it a bit more room. Okie dokie. And now what we need is another object, which is camera, that will fly around between those image planes. So with the merge 3D node selected, click camera 3D. That will automatically set your camera in this merge 3D world. And one more thing, what we also need to be able to render this and merge it over our background and see it eventually in the media out is a renderer 3D. So with the merge 3D node selected, click renderer. And now if I preview it on this screen, I can see exactly what the camera actually is filming, is seeing. So I need to position my camera. Okay, so go to the first frame number 0, and position your camera so it points exactly our first image plane, which is this picture. So what you can do is go to the image plane 3D inspector settings, and in the transform node, copy all those 3 X, Y, and Z controls values to the camera transform tab. Check use target first and copy those values here in the target controls. So I got here 120, 1, 2, 3, 3, Y is 0 and Z. So right now my camera is pointing this target, this first image, and I can only use translation controls to make it in front of this picture. So first slide position, let's say this is our first slide position, and all you need to do now is to keyframe camera position so it flies through all those image planes. That is the most tricky part because that involves a lot of keyframing. It's very time consuming, so I will show you just how to do it for the first and second, so we nicely transition from the first image plane to the second one. So at frame number 0, I hope you are familiar with keyframes in general in Davinci Resolve. It works the same way in Fusion. So you position your frame, your playhead at frame number 0, and you create your first keyframes. I will keyframe all those controls, so translation, rotation, and target. So right click here, animate translate group. It will create 3 keyframes here, same here, and same here. Then move, I don't know, the 60 frames. So just add 60 to this counter, and you are 60 frames farther. And in here, I will also create keyframe. So this is my final camera location as far as the first image plane is concerned. So if I go back to frame number 0, I can now step back camera a bit like so. And if I play it, it will zoom in, it will approach my first image plane. So this is the first one. Then let's say we want to stay here 30 frames. I create again keyframes here. Then I want to transition to my second image. So the transition will take about 60 frames. So again, I will add 60 frames. And now what you need to do is to change your target position to the second image plane. So take all those translation values and copy them to your camera target. Okay. See, it's already panned to the right, targeting our second image plane. So if we do nothing with other controls, the camera just changing its target to our second image. So let me create here keyframes for other controls. Even though you don't keyframe, for instance, right now a Y rotation, create a keyframe there because you might need it later on when you want to spice up your animation, your camera movement with some rotation, and you got already your keyframes in the right place on your timeline. That helps a lot. So be consistent with that. And right now, adjust the Z. You want to approach, adjust the X. Actually, if you want to be exactly in front of the second or the next image plane 3D, you can copy this target value, X target value here, and you're exactly in front of your image plane. So let's say this is our second. Then we stay here for another 30 frames. We create keyframes here. We add another 60 frames, and we want to we can create already the keyframes for all other controls. And as before, take the XYZ translation and put it to the target. Okay. And this is our final destination. So what we got here is a very linear fly-through animation. Right now what you can do is to make it more smooth by using spline window. So for instance, I want to smooth out the Z offset control animation. So I select the Z offset. Don't forget to click zoom to fit, and you got the Z offset behavior here. As you see, it's very rigid and linear. So let me select the first two keyframes and tap S or click this icon. Right now we have a nice S curve that you can further tune if you wish. And right now you got this zoom is much more smoother than before, and you can repeat the steps for other pairs of keyframe like so. So this is only Z offset keyframe that we smoothed out a bit, and it looks much better already. And of course you can add some rotation to it. So in here at the beginning, let's say we want to start with a bit of Z rotation. Let me disable Z and go to Z rotation, and let's make it as well smooth. This is how it starts. You can further customize it by adding in the middle of the transition. So here you can add some more rotation as well, so it looks more natural, as if it was some kind of FPV flying. Yeah, so this is how the animation, overall animation is done. You can play further with the keyframing, rotation, controls, and so on. Right now I want to show you how the blur aperture effect is created. So let me close spline and the inspector to have more room here. And what you need to do now, before we proceed, we can connect our renderer 3D, which are displayed on this screen, and we can merge it with our background node. So just drag and drop it over the background node. And right now, if we preview our media out, so our final result, it looks the same as renderer 3D, because we got nothing else in between in our composition. So To create this depth of field effect, select the Renderer 3D, open Selection tool, search for Depth Blur node and add. Open Inspector. Oh yeah, one more thing. Let me go back to Renderer 3D, and don't forget to, in the output channels, to check Z, because it's required for Depth Blur. Depth Blur will use blur channel for Z translation. This is very important. If you don't check it here, the Depth Blur will not work properly. Okay, so in the Depth Blur, let me go to the first image, which is on frame 60, and let me switch to timeline playback resolution to full so that you see all the details. So what you need to do here is to set Z scale to something around 6. This is how I figure it out. It works best for 5 or 6. Increase the blur size. Let me do the max so that you see exactly the effect. But later on you can adjust it to your needs. But right now you need to take the sample and point your first image. So just drag the sample and release it somewhere here. And as you see, our first image is in focus, and what's farther away, it's blurred. So you need to keyframe each position of the image plane along the animation, because if you leave it like that, let me create a keyframe already here. If you leave it like that and you play the animation, you might lose the focus. So if you click the camera again, you will see all the keyframes. So you are sure you are in the right place on the timeline. So right now, if I go to the second picture, I need to keyframe my focal point again. So just drag the sample and drag it and drop it over this image. It will create automatically the second keyframe. And finally, for the last picture as well, here you need to do it again. So sample and boom. So right now, when you fly around, you got this nice depth of field effect using Depth Blur. Of course, in my ready-to-use Fusion composition that you can download from my Ko-fi page, you got also some kind of particles flying. I won't discuss it here because it will take too long. You can check out my other videos regarding particles. This is basically how this slideshow effect is done. Leave a comment what you think of it. Don't forget to subscribe and like to not miss out upcoming tutorials. Check out my other products on my Ko-fi page. Some of them are totally free. Thanks for watching, cheers, and see you in the next one.